Welcome to episode 75 of Chew on This, a Nerds United podcast. I'm BJ.
Vic.
So, before we begin, I just want to remind everyone out there that we've got a really cool Patreon page out there where you can earn rewards for sponsoring us and just donate as little bit as $1 a month. And you get some really cool prizes or rewards like bonus pods, shout outs. You can control the podcast or come up with the subject matter for us to talk about. So a number of things, shirts, hats, all that good stuff. So go to www.patreon.com/chew on this podcast and become part of the Chew crew.
So, and then of course every episode what we've been doing is just mentioning Wawa, and it's hashtag West Coast Wawa, and I could actually go for one of their hot entrees right now, which would probably be, oh, you know what they have really good during the Thanksgiving is they have their turkey sandwiches.
That's so
and it's
random.
got like
That's so random.
stuffing
It's so
and
random.
cranberry.
We're in March, right? We're in April.
I know, but still, that's how good Wawa is. I'm thinking all the way ahead of a different state.
Wawa, you have
in a
7
different month.
months. You got 7 months to get us a freaking Wawa here so we can enjoy that turkey sandwich.
Yeah, it's got like stuffing, cranberry sauce, all the good stuff
Yes.
on there, and you can get any size you want. You could even get it on like wheat bread if you wanted to, but why would you bother? I mean, what's the point?
Wheat bread's useless. Yeah, I don't like wheat bread.
So this is our number. How many diversity episodes have we done?
I want to say this is take 3. I think we're
Take 3?
Yeah, we're going in the third. As last year we did a couple, one with the
Right.
Oscars and Zootopia and
I
all that
think
stuff.
Yeah, I think I said last time like we'd probably do another diversity episode because we were pretty sure how Hollywood would fuck up again, and
Holy shit, did they?
and they've kind of done it. So we thought it would be a good idea to do all of the diversity that's been going on, all the controversies, and some controversies, some not so much, and also. But what opened this weekend was Ghost in the Shell.
Yes.
Being the responsible Asian that I was like, fuck that movie. I'm not going to pay any money to go see that movie. But you had to go. So
Yes.
why don't you give me your spoiler-rific review because I've already seen the movie.
Oh.
I've seen the original.
Well,
so
for everyone out there,
just go right ahead.
I'll just go right into it. So, first of all, it's not doing well. It's Rotten Tomatoes is at 42% as of right now. Friday, between Thursday and Friday, it only did $7 million in a movie this big. That's very disappointing.
110 million to make, 20 million. It looks like 20 or so million. It'll finish the weekend.
Yeah,
with.
I'm thinking so, and I have some points to make about that a little bit later too. So let me go over the positives. Okay, it looks gorgeous. In most parts, it looks absolutely beautiful. I'm sure on IMAX it would have looked even better. Um, the seamlessness between the humans and the androids, or the humans and their cybernetic enhancements, because like in the future you can get all sorts of enhancements, and like people's like faces come off and like limbs come off and shit, but it's seamless. Like it doesn't look CGI'd or anything like that. So that is done amazingly well, and that's where the positives completely end right there. So number one, I don't even want to go into the controversy stuff again. Just kind of like Iron Fist. We can talk about that a little bit later. But aside from that, the movie is just extremely boring. It's really boring. The anime, I think, because it's so beautifully drawn and all that stuff, and it was a original story at that point. That makes it was fun to watch, and I've watched it a few times over the years. But this movie, it's like they didn't do anything new, really. I mean, there's nitpicky stuff that I guess that they did new, but that's not important. But the overall story is pretty much the same. So like in the future, they figure out how to transfer a brain into an android, essentially. Like it's never been done before. Major is the first person to actually have their brain transported into an android. So the only thing that's human is the brain, okay, or what they call the soul or the ghost. That's where the ghost comes in. The shell is what the ghost is in, okay? Hence the title, which again, that explanation was great. The beginning was kind of great the way they explained things. Um, so Major is the first creation under this type of procedure, and like her memories are wiped, but she has other memories that kind of glitch and pop in and out as the movie goes. But then you kind of find then later on they tell you that those memories were put in there. So like of her family dying in a fire and all this stuff, and they're like, oh, that was just put in there. That wasn't real. Still can't really remember why they did that, but and then also there's a bad guy running around who's wreaking havoc, and she is tasked to find this guy and bring him down. Kind of like hiring Arnold to go get Quado, in Total Recall. So like she hunts this guy down, but essentially he's really like not really hunting her down, but he keeps entering her memories and messing with her and all that stuff. And eventually they come together, and he reveals that he's a failed experiment, but she was the perfection. She was the one that um, was the revolutionary, breakthrough that they needed, and he was just a piece of shit. He didn't, he was a failed experiment, but he escaped, and he's pissed at the corporation, so he's wreaking all this havoc, right? Um, he was the bad guy was really one note. In the beginning, it was kind of scary, and then toward the end, you were like, oh, okay, that's dumb. So okay, here's where we get into some things that I had problems with. So Takeshi Kitano is a really well-known Japanese actor. He's also a director, very well known, amazing in the movie, just really rock solid. It's kind of like having Liam Neeson in episode one. Everyone else is shitty, but Liam Neeson's awesome, right? So Takeshi's awesome. He's the only guy in the entire movie, and there's a lot of Japanese people in it, that speaks Japanese, and everyone else speaks English. So when he speaks Japanese, they repeat back in English. And when he speaks Japanese, it puts English subtitles, okay? And when
Okay.
and when he speaks Japanese, it's like I was like, "Oh my god, like I wish they would have done this through the whole movie because it draws you in." Okay? So one of the problems I had is that again, the movie's really boring. But first and foremost, the problem I had with this movie, number one, is that, or I guess this would be number three, is that the soul, and we're going to this because I know you know where I'm going with this, and I had a problem with this because as a moviegoer and a white person watching it, being pissed off because you find out essentially that the soul of of Major that died, or the soul or the person that died with the soul was Japanese, and they put the soul into essentially a white body that looks, or yeah, a white person's body that looks like Scarlett Johansson. Okay, why they couldn't hire a Japanese actress, honestly, to play Major or some of the other characters is completely beyond me. It took me completely out of the movie. I think Scarlett is again, very talented in certain things. In this movie, she's not. She's very one note. I didn't like her character at all. Her voice was like really deep, like a man's. She walked like a man. She looked like a stick stuck really far up her butt, or like a dude who's got like a wedgie or something like that. It really looked like a person who had a wedgie. And
It was her Japanese soul trying to get out of her ass.
right, right. So it's very obvious and very apparent that they hired her essentially to get butts in the seat. That's the only reason, okay? Because this movie isn't, she's not that far off from Lucy, the Luc Besson movie. The character's
Hmm.
not that far off. And so it just felt like, oh, I've seen this shit before, okay? So why they couldn't hire all Japanese people for this movie is beyond me. It's just hire. This is one of the things they could have fixed immediately. Hired all Japanese people. Number two, have them speak Japanese through the whole thing and just have English subtitles. And the reason why I know this works, people, is because look at Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and look at fucking Pan's Labyrinth. Both those
Or
movies,
go watch the original Ghost in the
or go
Shell.
watch the original Ghost in the Shell and fuck this movie, right? Because by doing so, it not only makes um, the movie more believable, I guess, is that it immerses you in it. It draws you in. You have to read what they're saying. How they're saying it is the acting part of it. So every time Takeshi would say some lines, you were just like, oh, I love this character, right? And then everyone else spoke fucking plain stupid ass English. And it really, I'm telling you, it's ridiculous. Either have him speak English or just put everybody Japanese. But I would have preferred everybody Japanese. So, you can't tell me that they didn't hire her just to put butts in the seats. And I'm sorry, but she was just very awkward in that movie. The guy that was her partner with the flat top, he was cool. I didn't mind him being white, actually. He was just a really cool character. He had his he there was one part where this explosion went off and it burned his eyes out completely. So he had to have these cybernetic eyes, and he just looked fucking cool. It looked just like the anime. I was like, oh shit, they really did that character well. But Scarlett, dude, I'm sorry, she was just blah, completely blah. Phoned it in. I didn't like her performance, and it was just like every other movie that she's done, pretty much. Wasn't anything new to the table. So that's my initial reviews. Just really boring, and really, really pissed off that they didn't just hire an all Japanese character. Oh, here's the other thing, people. If the movie costs $110 million, okay, which um, the production value is pretty high in this thing, but it's heavily, heavily CGI. There's very rarely any what do you want to call it? Uh,
Real sets,
Real sets or real effects,
practical
practical
effects.
effects. Yeah, very rare you see that. Okay, so you're hiring this actress. I assume she commands what, 20 million, 15 million, or something like that. If they
Yeah,
would have hired,
she's up there.
yeah, so two things happen. You hire a whole Japanese cast, it makes the movie more authentic, number one. Number two, your cost goes from 110 down to like 70 or 60 even, because you don't need to pay these higher actors. This movie's only going to do 20 million this week, right? It might be lucky if it cracks 50 total. So they're going to lose a butt shit fuckload of money on this thing. And cuz it's a boring movie. It's really boring. And it's really unfortunate. And then here's the thing, at the very end when the credits rolled and I was ready to bail, I want to know who the director was because I never checked before I went and saw it. The director directed Snow White and the Huntsman, which is another incredibly boring movie that should have been awesome.
Mm,
Okay, they play exactly the same, boring as shit all the way through, with a couple action sequences in it that are very um, uh, not iron fistish. I mean, they were better martial arts, but boring. It's like Into the Badlands. There's sequences that are fucking way better than this whole movie put together. So another huge nitpick. They didn't bring anything new to the table for this movie. Okay, so that's my. I didn't like it. It's it.
so what's your diversity rating and what's your actual rating?
Well, see, that's where I struggle because the cast was pretty diverse, but it pisses me off that they didn't have an all Japanese cast. So fuck that movie. I'm gonna say Jan Brady, but it should be a plethora, because I'm pissed off how they treated Major. Now that I know the real truth behind it, with the whole soul thing and all that stuff. So I didn't like that. Um, as far as chainsaws, I'll give it two, maybe 1.5. Just
Wow, that's pretty low.
extremely boring movie. Yeah.
Well, I mean, so this will lead us into the diversity talk. So one of the things that came out recently, or I think Friday came out in the reviews. I started reading the reviews because I was like, I'm not going to this movie, and I'm never probably going to see this movie. So fuck it, I'm going to read the reviews.
And that was right before I went. You told me this thing, and so I looked for it when I watched it just to be sure what you were saying
Yeah.
was true, and it's fucking true.
So a lot. So before it was a certain type of people. Um, they were saying that this is an American thing. She's a cyborg. Um, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that she's white. She's like a soulless type thing, so it doesn't matter. That was the early excuse for doing Scarlett Johansson in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when the news broke that it was explained inside the movie that it should, that explains why Scarlett Johansson was hired for this movie, everybody now is defending it in the sense of like, oh well, as long as it was in the script anyway, so you know it doesn't even matter like that they hired Scarlett Johansson because it explains it in the movie. And to me, that makes it even worse
Mm-hmm.
because it's like it's a whitewash within a whitewash. It's like it's an Inception whitewash. Like it's so stupid because you had every intention of never hiring a Japanese person for this movie or an Asian or any Asian. You had no bearing to even think about doing it because it made it to script level. Like
Right.
shootable script. It was already in the cards, and then you knew you were going to hire a white woman no matter what. That was always going to be the case. So just because you explain it in the movie, like a little detail there, like you could have easily just said that, Major has a Japanese last name because she was fucking Japanese.
Change your name, make her white. Change your name, make
Yeah,
it white.
do or don't even give her the Japanese last. I don't even know what Major's last name
I
is,
can't remember now.
but it was Japanese. Why not just make it Major? I don't fucking Major Smith or Major,
That's too close.
Johnson
Too
or
close to the Matrix.
well, yeah, but some like European last name, and then you don't even have to you could completely just whitewash the character anyway. But then it was like you couldn't let go of the Japanese portion of it.
Right.
You couldn't why did you hold on to that portion of it and then just make her white? Like there was no reason for it. I don't know, understand. Like if you're like, well, it's for an American audience, we needed to hire Scarlett Johansson, so whitewash the entire character. Why the
Hmm.
fuck did you keep the Japanese portion?
I don't know.
You just say she was white. She lived in fucking Boston. Give her a fucking a Boston accent. Make her fucking white as
Yo,
hell.
I'm fucking major here. I'm
Yeah,
wicked.
make her completely white. There was like so again, just like with the whole ancient one where the director came out and tried to explain it even better, but it was 100 times more racist than it was before. This is just the same. Like this just proves that you had no intention of hiring an Asian person for this movie, and you for some reason thought it would be cool to like actually whitewash the person Major in this movie. Like instead of just saying, "Well, she was white in her previous life, she's white now."
It's kind of like, beating someone up and they fall to the ground and then you start kicking them. It's just kicking a person on the ground. It's just more, it's just so blatant and so, like, me just from all types of standpoints, okay? It's not even just like, even racial. It's like, it's just, when I was watching it, I was like, this is really stupid. Like, why do they do this? Like, it just didn't make any, like, logical sense either. You know what I mean? Like, it just,
Did they say where they were in the movie?
no, but when you watch it, it looks like it's in Japan. It looks like it looks like you're in a futuristic Lost in Translation movie. I mean,
Right.
it looks very Japanese, extremely Japanese. There's Japanese gardens. There's Japanese ponds with there's like digital koi fish flying all over the place. It's kind of like I mean, they took the anime. I mean, anybody that's never seen the anime, if you would just watch this movie without seeing the anime, you would go, "Oh, this is fucking Blade Runner. This looks like Blade Runner universe." But it looks very Japanese. So yeah, put it in New York and make major whatever. Just completely whitewash the whole thing and say, you know what, this is the direction we wanted to go. No, it's all Japanese, but like let's do this one thing because she is a star and she's gonna get butts in the seats. But let me tell you
Well,
something, they didn't do it. Yeah, it didn't happen.
yeah.
So why the fuck did you do it? So stupid. You know?
Well, I got to say like I said, I'm actually really happy that this movie is tanking.
Yes.
So that's what you get, basically. That's what you fucking get.
Yeah.
I mean, karma right there.
No
What's the
ghosts.
karma?
No Ghost in the Shell too. That's for sure.
Yeah. What's the karma? You made 20 something million in your first weekend. Good luck trying to recoup all of that money.
What would
Because it's 110 minus, it doesn't even include marketing.
No, the market
110 just to
marketing's
make the
the
movie.
marketing was probably easily 50 to 100. I mean, they've been marketing the shit out of this thing for a while.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Ghost in the Shell 2, Whitewashing Boogaloo. That's what they should call it.
They should. I don't know. How does this movie end? Because I don't give a fuck.
I'd be honest with you, I don't fucking remember. Well, the guy that they were running around after he dies by this like spider tank thing, and then the guy, you find out that the guy that was running the corporation was basically just building these androids to be weapons, to be under his control. So Major was like pretty much built to just be a weapon. And one of the doctors like kind of took her under her wing and said, I'll help you out and stuff like that. Because they, at one point, they capture her and they're like, we'll just make a better one and we'll destroy you. And the one doctor's like, fuck, we're not doing that. So she pretends to kill her with like a lethal injection, but instead gives her like strength to escape or something like that. And she it gives her some serum, I don't know, in the back of her neck. Anyway, but she escapes. But so they end up like getting that guy, the cybernetic guy who was an experiment. He dies, and then the head of the corporation guy dies, and then it just kind of goes on. Like, because I think there is a Ghost in the Shell too, isn't there? Like, I think there's a Ghost in the Shell 2 anime.
Hmm.
So the way it ends, I mean, they could just keep going or just let it end, the way it is. Because like all the major players survive, Takeshi and her, and then the other dude, her partner, which I loved. I loved her partner, and I loved Takeshi. That those guys were, or I can't remember what his name is in the movie. I just know the actor's name is Takeshi. He's fucking awesome in everything he does, and I'm so upset that he's in this because he's better than that. You know what I mean? It's like
Hmm.
the one thing in the movie that really sticks out is this guy. And he's the only one speaking Japanese. And and there's a scene with him where these guys they want to murder him, and he fucking turns the tables on him. It was so awesome. This old Japanese guy kicks these fucking guys' ass that has got like machine guns and shit. And they thought got the jump on him. So that part was cool. That part was really cool. It was like he was like the Nick Fury moment, from Captain America, Winter Soldier, or something like that, but didn't get his ass kicked like Nick Fury did.
Right.
So yeah. So like it's I would say like as much as I didn't like this movie, I definitely if somebody invited me over to watch it on Blu-ray, I would consider that. But like and I didn't pay for this movie, by the way. Um, I won't tell you how or why, but we didn't pay for the movie, but I would never have forked cash out for this thing. It definitely like it. I'm sure at some point you may watch it, but someone would have to like lend you the Blu-ray, and you'd take like a week to watch it or something. Because I know how pissed off you are at the movie, but it's you got to watch it for. There's a couple parts in it where you're like, oh, that's pretty cool, but the majority of that movie is so fucking boring. And you've seen it before a million times, not even just the anime. If you've never seen the anime before and you just watch the movie outright, you would pick it apart like crazy. Be like, oh, they borrowed that or they ripped that off, or like I've seen this 1,000 times. You know, so there's nothing special. There's nothing you could predict everything that's going to happen. And so for that, it just wasn't a good movie. So anyway, seriously, fuck that movie.
It'd be really good if, like, at the end of the movie, um, some Japanese lady wakes up in like the bathtub, and the whole thing was a dream. She was picturing herself as Scarlett Johansson.
I would accept that, but still, the movie is just. I mean, with all that controversy aside, the movie is just plain bad. It's just. I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a bland tasting food or something like that. It needed seasoning. It needed, an appetizer. It needed something. Um, it just, I don't know. The 42% is very much warranted. I do not have a problem with that rating at all. In fact, it could probably go lower than that. It's just not a good movie. So,
That ending that I just said too was actually like I ripped it off of an Emilio Estevez movie.
you know who did that years ago was my parents loved the Bob Newhart show.
Oh,
So back in the 70s, Bob Newhart had a show. It was awesome. He played I forget what character he played, but years later he did a show. I think it was called Newhart or whatever, and he owned like a bed and breakfast, and the show went on for years, right? And the very last episode, he wakes up out of a dream and he looks over in bed, and it's his wife from the old show, and it's like he dreamed the whole show. He dreamed the whole bed and breakfast show. He was the character from the other show. It was really like crazy the way they did that. Like people didn't expect that. So anyway, I don't know what it fucking went off on Newhart. Shit.
Because I said I talked about I talked about
Inception.
some Japanese lady waking up in the bathtub.
But see, even
Because
even that's
in the Emilio
racist.
Estevez movie, he like dies at the end,
Oh
and then
right.
when he gets shot, spoilers. I don't even remember the name of the movie, but like I remember a standoff between him and the cops, and
Oh
he pulls out his like finger pointing like a gun, but the cops
yes,
fire anyway,
yes.
and then he wakes up in the bathtub and he dreamed the whole movie. And even at like I remember watching it like I don't know maybe between 10 and 13 years old,
But
maybe.
do any
I
do
remember like
any
I was like fuck this movie.
do any Japanese women dream to be Scarlett Johansson though? I don't think so. Like
No, but I was,
maybe certain
but there,
white women might.
but it's as stupid. It's as stupid as like the ploy to why Scarlett Johansson is actually in the movie.
Well, if they, I mean, it's kind of like The Matrix. I think heavily borrows from this movie because they plug in, they download information, shit like that. So
Well, Ghost in the Shell, the original anime is heavily influenced by Blade Runner. I mean, the content
yes,
alone is about whether
chasing
or
after
not
androids and shit.
right. It's whether or not they can be human, and this one takes it to a different level of like they were humans at one point. So
Yes.
yeah, so they owe it a lot, and the style of the anime, the way the city is drawn too, kind
Hmm.
of feels like Blade Runner as well.
Yeah, it does
But
for sure.
anyway, so other diversity stuff. What else we
Yeah.
got this week or a couple weeks?
Well, I know Death Note. The trailer came out for
Uh,
that. Um,
Speaking of another Japanese, so it was a manga, and it was actually I've seen the Death Note Japanese movie.
hmm
There's a Japanese death. It was the weirdest fucking thing in the world. I don't know why they decided to make this movie, but even in the Japanese version of it, it looked pretty fucking dumb.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Do you know Death Note or no?
I've never watched Death Note. I've only heard about it.
Well, it was a manga, so it was like I think a comic book or like graphic novel or something first. Anyway, and there is actually a anime or TV show. I can't remember. But basically, so there's this book, right? And basically, whose ever name you write in the book
Hmm.
dies. This thing shows up and kills the other person.
Well, that sounds stupid. That sounds like that The Ring. You watch the video, you die in 7 days, or
Right, but the ring makes more sense. There's a little bit more of a background there.
okay.
So this kid, like in the movie, I only watched the movie. Anyway, he gets like power hungry by writing all these people's fucking names, and he can't get rid of the devil, that or whatever the thing is, that the demon, whatever that that is attached to the book.
Hmm.
Anyway, I don't even remember the ending. I just remember thinking this movie's fucking crazy. I kept watching it because like I couldn't believe what I was watching, how stupid it was. Like the premise alone was dumb.
Hmm.
Apparently people love this thing. Japanese people love it. Obviously in the states they love it too. If you are into that stuff, but like I thought it was like on the level of like Sharknado because it was so ridiculous. I think Sharknado probably would have been a little bit more believable to me
Hmm.
than Death Note. Just the fact that like sharks may be flying in the air with all the climate change and all the thing that's going on is more believable to me than writing a name in a book and some demon shows up and fucking kills you. Anyway, regardless, it's a Japanese thing. Again, it's a Japanese thing, and Hollywood is remaking it. And I think like James Woods is the fucking demon in this or some shit.
Oh,
But they said it. They said it like they literally. Okay, so they do what. It's a Netflix show, by the way, too. What they do what Ghost in the Shell didn't do. Like Ghost in the Shell tried to keep reminding you that it was Japanese, even though the white person was the lead. Like they whitewashed the lead person,
hmm
but they kept reminding you that it was Japan. That was actually Japan without saying it's fucking Japan. even speaking Japanese without saying it's Japan.
Right.
So this one they update it where it looks like it's a straight American like
It's straight American. They
retelling of it.
moved it from Japan to like Seattle or something like that. And it's all white,
Yeah,
all white
yeah,
cast.
high school.
Uh-huh.
So the main character is white. So a couple things here. Great, you want to make it your own. That's great. But again, we live in a melting pot in America. Like you want to put it in American high school, great. But guess what? There's Asians in American high schools.
Hmm.
So why not have the Asian person find it? You know, like, and you know, you want to take it to America, that's fine, but throw a little bit something back, like give it to an Asian actor. You couldn't find a better Asian actor because I don't know who this white guy is, this white kid is who's playing.
He's nobody.
Right, you couldn't find a nobody Asian actor to do this show or movie, whatever the fuck it's going to be. So, you know, again, people are going to come out of the woodworks and say, well, it's an American show, like, or an American remake. Like, okay, great, it's an American remake, but that doesn't mean in America there's nothing but white. I think white people forget sometimes that there's more than white people in this country.
Yeah, I think so too. And not
Like
just
when you say something stupid like it's it's an American remake. I'm like, okay, how many different races are in America?
right,
You know, like just because you can't say something like that and not realize the country that you live in.
right,
Like saying like because it's an American remake, that gives it okay to whitewash the character. Wouldn't that mean out of any other country in the world, wouldn't that mean an American remake is I'm going to make it more diverse
right.
because that's what we have here? Like since when did an American remake mean that you just like it's only white people that exist in America?
Right.
I don't understand that saying.
No, and their argument is always like, well, we wanted to update it, we wanted to change some things, but here's the deal. That doesn't work because Iron Fist is another example. Why didn't they fucking again, it's missed opportunity. Why didn't they update that character?
Because whatever argument they have fits the narrative without them just admitting that they're either ignorant or racist.
Right.
That's why. Like whatever the answer could be, other than I I, I just wanted it to be white because that's what I wanted.
Right.
You know, like I'd probably have more respect for you if you just owned up to your ignorance than trying to bullshit your way out of it and make you sound even more racist.
Right. Or just very extremely ignorant and stupid and racist all at the same time. Yeah,
Yeah.
because those arguments don't work. When you say stuff like that, like, oh, we wanted to update the thing, it's like, well, that's not really updating it. All you just did was completely erase, you know, everything and just put one thing in it. You didn't really update it. You actually downgraded it.
Yeah,
So,
because if you actually updated it, that means you're not using like, you're not using like what's a fucking demographics from like 1960s. We're a lot more diverse now.
yeah, exactly.
So updating it would be again making it more diverse, and an American remake would mean that because we're in America, it would be more diverse. You
Yeah.
know, like
And you can't tell me that just a bunch of white people live in Seattle. That's a big city, right? So there's no
yeah, oh,
Asians or
yeah,
black people or Muslims or nothing. Just all
like
all white people, all rich white
an
people.
American
Is
an
that right?
American city,
Yeah,
an American big city.
yeah. So yeah, that it absolutely makes. I've never seen Death Note, but I know what it is, and I know where it came from and all that stuff. And if you're going to update it, like updating it to me is like, okay, you moved it from Japan to Seattle. Cool, cool.
They said it's an American remake.
Yeah,
Again, using the term American, but not realizing that America doesn't mean what they think it means.
right. American to them is completely like, oh, a cast of all white people. That's what American means. So, which is completely wrong. So, anyway, not an upgrade, folks. It's a downgrade, and it's getting a lot of hate. I haven't seen this thing. I don't know. Did it? It's supposed to be on Netflix this weekend, right? Or is it?
I have no clue. Here's the thing. I don't really care about it. Like like I said, the premise is dumb, and I don't want to watch it anyway. So it doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah,
It's just
it,
again
a
another
missed.
fucking thing.
Yeah, another very big. I don't even. Is this a missed opportunity or just plain fucking stupid? Like
It's
to me,
plain fucking stupid.
yeah, I kind of want to say that too. I think Iron Fist was a missed opportunity on all levels, but
Yeah, like I
this is
said,
just stupid,
it's an American high school, so in a big city, so it's going to be diverse. Most American big cities are,
right? But it's not a but
you
but
know.
it's not a high school in the 19 fucking 40s or 50s. You know,
Right.
they're
Like, there's no reason why a Japanese kid couldn't have found this thing,
that-
or an Asian kid could have found this thing,
or
or a
maybe
black
or
kid,
maybe
or a Latino kid. Like, seriously, it just had to be white again.
yeah.
Especially since the character originally written was Japanese. So there you go. No cyborg talk. No cyborg talk this time from certain people. There's really no reason for it. No matter what you can say about this movie, about why they went with a white lead actor,
Hmm.
it doesn't hold true. You can't tell me it's an American remake. Again, I'm gonna fucking keep saying it because it keeps happening. America does not mean there's only white people in it. So American remake means make it look like America.
Totally. Um, yeah, that was a big deal. What else was really big last
So
week?
didn't some more Iron Fist stuff happen?
There was. I mean, it was. I think they were again trying to address the whole controversy of putting a white guy in there. Like I heard that they did see some Asian people and actually hired one of the guys who actually,
Oh, to do the drunken boxing thing.
yeah, he shows up as the drunken boxer,
Terrible drunken
which
boxer.
that scene is cringeworthy and laughable. Like I laughed, but not in a good way. I was laughing at it like this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
So I read up on that guy
Hmm.
after we did the podcast, and that guy definitely knows martial arts. I think the reason why it looks so well, I don't like his interpretation of the drunken boxing,
Hmm.
but I think it looks so much more ridiculous is because he's having to fucking wait hand and foot on Finn Jones to fight him. Meaning, like, so other shit came out where apparently Finn Jones only trained for like 3 weeks or 3 months before
3 weeks before filming.
3 weeks, 3 weeks before filming. Which, okay, that makes sense as to why how shitty it looks on film. But I don't give a fuck. I don't care. You decided to go with a white guy who's never fucking fought before, and you give him 3 weeks to train. That's all, everything. Like telling me that Finn Jones only had 3 weeks to train doesn't only make me think you're like ignorant and racist now. I also think you're fucking incompetent. Because how the fuck do you hire somebody who has never done the major thing that Iron Fist does,
Hmm.
which is fucking fight, right? He's a kung fu master. The one thing that he's supposed to be really good at, you give the least amount of time for this kid to fucking work with.
They didn't like. I don't even think he lifted any weights, dude. He did not look ripped at all. Like he looked like every skinny other dude out, like surfer dude out there. He didn't.
Yeah.
He did not look like he spent 15 years eating vegetables and meditating and doing kung fu.
Again, like the fact that like now we think you're like logistically stupid too. How the fuck do you plan on hiring somebody who has never had any martial arts background and give him just 3 weeks? 3 fucking weeks to make me and everyone else who's seen the Jackie Chans and the Jet Lees and the Bruce Lees, we know what that shit looks like.
Right.
And then you tell us that this guy is so good that he has a fucking fist that lights up and can fucking punch through doors. Apparently the only thing he can do. And floors.
Yeah. Like he.
He's supposed to get this like special magic. More so than any other Asian. And then you only give that guy 3 weeks to train. I mean, fuck. I mean, even professional football players to get ready for the season take 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And they're like I'm a Jets fan. They need more than 4 weeks to fucking train. And they still go out there. But this guy got 3 weeks to train and he's supposed to be the best of the best. Like Tom fucking Brady takes 4 weeks to get ready for the season. Tom Brady is a much better quarterback than this guy's an Iron Fist.
God, that's just. Oh my gosh. That's yeah. When you put it that way, it just makes it like even worse.
It is worse because, again, not only are you ignorant, but you're fucking stupid. You're
Yes,
fucking stupid too.
yes,
On top of that, that's worse.
yes.
I mean, give the guy 6 months to train at least, or 3 months. I mean, seriously, you need at least 90 days to do like the fucking P90X.
uh,
And you give this guy 3 weeks to master Kung Fu.
oh my gosh, I probably
You
I
fucking
could kick
idiots.
his ass doing 3 months of P90X if he only did 3 weeks of whatever God knows what he did.
I can guarantee you my muscles would be a lot bigger if I trained for 3 weeks than Finn Jones. I know right now if I trained for 3 weeks, I'd have bigger arms than Finn Jones.
If all you did was push-ups every day, you'd still.
Yeah.
So the other thing, I don't know, but so this was, I mean, Death Note is a Japanese anime. Ghost in the Shell is a Japanese anime. Now they're talking heavily about making Akira, which I think they've been trying to make for years.
Yeah.
But interesting, I think I sent you this note, but Jordan Peele, the guy that directed Get Out, which I wish we could have reviewed because that movie's fucking awesome. Um, is possibly they're looking at him to possibly direct Akira. What do you think about that? Or you haven't watched Get Out yet, have you?
No, but that's only one directorial debut for a major motion picture, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
Did he direct
that
that?
was
Did
his.
he direct that
He
Keanu
he
one?
he wrote that with Keegan, but I don't know if he directed that or not. I don't think so. I think this is
So there's not. I honestly can't give an honest opinion on what he thinks. Like what I think he will do for Akira. I mean, I haven't seen Get Out, but I heard it's one of the best movies of the year, if not the best movie of the year so far.
hmm
And but that's a one hit thing, and I can't say like, oh yeah, Akira's going to be awesome because of his one hit thing. Because look at M Night Shyamalan.
right.
I mean, one of the best movies of the year was this The Sixth Sense that year. And if you told me from that movie, because it's a more I like the way his movies look.
Hmm.
They might suck, but other than Avatar, all his movies they look gorgeous. So if you would have told me that his two movies, The Sixth Sense and Unbreakable, was it, and everything else after that was going to be shit and got worse, I would not have believed you.
Right.
So I can't say the same thing for him doing Akira. All I can say is be good to it.
Yeah, yeah. But I think it, if you had watched Get Out and then you heard that he was getting Akira, you might go, okay, that makes sense because the guy really is very. I mean, obviously, he's very racially sensitive, but he's smart. Okay, the way he made Get Out is it's very intelligent. I can't even kind of like how Zootopia dealt with the things that they dealt with in that movie. He deals with it and Get Out just beautifully, um, and made it like a thriller in the meantime, which is really, I mean, what he did was difficult, and I think that's why he's really sought after right now, um, because of that movie. Like he did everything about that movie. He did. It's all him.
Right.
The only thing he didn't do was star in it, and I think at one point actually was like, "Oh, I'll be the comic relief guy that's in the movie," and he's like, "No, they're going to associate me with Key and Peele. I don't want that. I need to." So he stepped out of it and hired a different guy, and that was, I think, a really good move for him to do that, because I didn't sit there and go, "Oh yeah, it's that dude from Key and Peele." Um, so yeah, I don't know if he directed that or not. I'm looking up Keanu right now.
That's a big jump though, and because again, using the M Night Shyamalan thing, like if you told me his next movie after Unbreakable was going to be Avatar, I would have been like, "Holy fuck, this is going to be awesome!"
Right.
Right? Because it was like a slow transition from like horror movie to somewhat his version of a superhero movie, and then now he jumps to um, Avatar. Like
Yeah.
he directed, like this guy directed a horror movie, a very very low budget horror movie, probably zero special effects, and to make the jump all the way to Akira, which is
It's a
fucking
pretty
CG
big
heavy
it's a
loaded,
big jump.
like even probably more so. There's more action pieces, I believe, in this move in Akira and special effects than there would be for Ghost in the Shell if they were practical
Yeah,
about
I
it.
have to agree with you. The other movie that they're looking to tap him for is The Flash, which has lost like 3 directors and um
No, stay away from the Flash.
yeah, I would stay away from DC altogether, honestly, if I were him. If I were him, I would not do the M Night thing and go mainstream cuz like M Night, he's at his best when he writes his own stuff and takes his time. But he got really big for his britches and started just producing crap. And then when he started doing other people's work, it was actually worse. Like After Earth is terrible and a couple other movies. But now the guy's like on an upswing right now because he does very low. He did two very low budget movies that made a shit ton of money, and like now they're letting him do whatever he wants to do. Split is a really cool movie. Actually, I really enjoyed that movie. But Get Out is, I thought, was just really, really clever, really smart. It does borrow from a lot of different thrillers and horror movies, but it's a good mashup. It's really good. So I hope he doesn't do the mainstream thing. I hope he sticks with low budget and writes his own shit because he is really smart and really good filmmaker. I'm really looking forward to more shit from him. Um, but as far as I mean, there's it's just this is a year ago we did our first diversity episode. You realize that? Like right around the Oscars? It's almost been a year. And we talked about
It's been past a year.
Yeah, we talked about Iron Fist and Ghost in the Shell a little over a year ago. And it would be interesting to go back and listen to that because if I remember right, we were pissed about Ghost in the Shell, but Iron Fist were like, well, they missed an opportunity here. It's Marvel. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. And now here we are a year later going, boy, you really fucking iron fisted yourself. Like this movie sucks. This show sucks so bad, And we had to deal with it because we have to get to the Defenders, so we got to watch this bullshit to get to that. And if I swear to God, man, if he even whines even a tad in the Defenders, I'm gonna throw a fit, like beyond ridiculous. I know that sounds dramatic, but I'm gonna be really angry because this whole I mean they and the reason why I'd be angry about it is because they've already they already finished filming it, didn't they? They should have not finished filming that show when this other one ended because then they could go back and fix things, right? Because I hope they didn't make his character the same way. If he's anywhere remotely the same, it's going to take me out of that show and it's going to suck really bad. So I just hope that the other three can carry the show, the Defenders. But Iron Fist was a weak, just not even just like the whitewashing controversy. The show is just so weak. It's terrible. And a lot of reviews out there, a lot of podcasts I've listened to about that show is really spot on with some of the things that you and I have been talking about. And the people that love the show, I'm not calling them morons, whatever, anything like that. It's like they just like it for what it is, and don't apologize for it. And I'm okay with that. It's like whatever. That's your cup of tea. It's definitely not mine. And Ghost in the Shell was not my cup of tea. It was boring as shit. I prefer the
Well,
Matrix over this.
oh yeah. Well, let's go into something that happened this week.
Okay. And then we'll close it out.
Yeah, so we're against the whitewashing and all and that stuff, and not enough inclusion. So I thought it'd be interesting to talk about something that happened this week that we are actually on the side
Mm-hmm.
of the non inclusion, which is Joss Whedon is rumored to be directing Batgirl for DC.
Yes. How excited were you when you heard that?
I was excited, but I took a step back, thinking like, "Am I a hypocrite right now?" Being being really excited for Joss Whedon to direct Batgirl. Am I being a hypocrite because a woman didn't get that shot?
Mm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
started like thinking about it, and I started coming up with justifications for it. And I was trying to see if my justifications for it matched that of people who were trying to, tell Asians to get over it when they're being whitewashed.
Right, right.
And I think no. I
Hmm.
think I came up with, here are my reasonings or
Okay.
my main reason for it. One, he knows comic books. I'm not saying women don't. Not saying that at all. I'm just saying he knows the comic books. But the laundry list of things is what makes it. I think I'm okay with. He knows comic books. He's written for comic books. I think he's actually written for Batgirl. He's written for X-Men. I know that. I'm not sure if he's written for DC before. I'm not sure. But I know, here's the one thing I do know is that he knows how to write, direct, and film smart, powerful women.
Yes.
Just like Paul Feig everybody's okay with him, filming female comedies all the time.
Hmm.
Joss Whedon is that equivalent for not getting a woman director to do this.
Hmm.
Is that, I mean, look, if you ever watch Buffy the TV show, not the movie because the movie is fucking terrible. The
Yes.
TV show is fucking phenomenal. It takes a little bit to get used to. It took me the first season to get into it, but once I did, I couldn't stop watching it.
Yeah.
Binge watch the shit out of that on Netflix. It's so good. Then you got Dollhouse, right? You got Firefly. All the women on that show, very strong, very powerful,
Hmm.
very brave. What am I missing?
The event.
Dollhouse.
Well, I mean, his ultimate cred, obviously, is Buffy, but he did. I mean, that's for the women part of it. For the actual superhero part of it, the Avengers is, in the top three superhero movies of all time. Not so much Age of Ultron, but I don't think that was his fault. I think that was more Marvel's fault. Um, like what Sony did to Sam Raimi on the third one. So
Yeah.
so he's got all the credit in the world, and I totally hear what you're saying because I was a little bit conflicted. Like at first, I yelled out "Yes, awesome," and then I was a little conflicted. I was like, "Well, wait, is he taking it away from a woman?" Because like they hired Patty Jenkins, who really doesn't have a lot of cred at all of any kind of movie. They hired her to do Wonder Woman, and industry is saying that she knocked it out of the park. But we'll see when we watch it. But everything I see looks great on that movie. But Batgirl, yeah, I was kind of like, oh man, that might be a missed opportunity to get. And there's really good female directors out there. I mean, the girl that the lady that won an Oscar for The Hurt Locker, uh, she could do Batgirl. I mean, she'd be really good at that. But then, like you, I think the more I sat down and thought about it, I was like, I'm really okay with this because he knows how to write women. He knows how to write really strong, and he's also very witty. Like his dialogue is always very real. Like like you and your buddies hang out and talk about shit. He's a really good way of integrating action along with smart, intelligent, fun characters that you would want to hang out with.
I
So,
can see essences of Buffy in the
oh
Batgirl movie
fuck
if Joss is
yes,
writing it.
absolutely. This isn't Wonder Woman. This is a different animal. She could be snarky and smart and have all the technology and the fighting
Right.
skills. And the question is, who the fuck? I mean, I trust him implicitly. I wonder who he's going to get. Do an unknown? Do someone popular? Of course, Warner Brothers would probably want Scarlett Johansson to be in everything, or somebody would want something that big to be not her, but I mean
I
someone
don't think you
big.
need to. I don't think you need to be somebody big.
I don't either. He just needs to get the right person, the right however he writes it.
Hire the
You know.
best actress. Just open your
Yes.
horizons and hire the best actress.
Yes.
Seriously, just that's all I care about. Just hire the best actress.
Now the other question is it going to be? I'm totally going off topic, but is it going to be in the DC universe? Like, do you have J.K.
I think
Simmons?
so.
J.K. Simmons is Commissioner Gordon, which now that I saw him in the trailer, I was like, oh shit, he makes a pretty good Commissioner Gordon, even though he's
He
like,
makes a good everything.
yeah, he's fucking. I just wish they could just put him in anything. He's so fucking good.
Yeah.
Have you seen Whiplash yet?
No,
Fucking.
no, no,
Oh my
no.
god, watch that movie, please. Like tomorrow. He's so fucking good in that. He won an Oscar for that. Anyway, diversity, diversity, diversity. Take three. That's where we went this time. I'm sure there's going to be many more of these to come. Our wish is not for that. We want it to be less
Yeah.
and less. We want to come on here and talk about good things that the industry is doing, and sometimes they do very little though. So, and these are very big things that are out right now, and there's really nothing. They're out. There's nothing you can do to go back and fix them unless 20 years from now they make another Ghost in the Shell, which I don't think that's going to happen. So it is what it is. It's there, you know. Um, Thankfully, I didn't pay money for this thing, so.
I definitely didn't.
I know you had a really hard time with this, like harder after reading that article, and I know maybe at some point it's kind of like Schindler's List. It's like it took me years to sit down and watch that. Only this is the opposite way. It's like it's going to be excruciating in a different way to watch Ghost in the Shell because the whole time you.
Did you just compare the Ghost in the Shell to fucking Auschwitz?
I compared the situation. No, not Auschwitz. I compared the movie Schindler's List. Oh fuck! I'm Jewish, folks, so don't get mad at me. So,
You're a terrible Jew.
No, I'm comparing it to the fact that it took me years to watch Schindler's List because of the subject matter. It was very difficult to watch. But I'm saying is that Ghost in the Shell might take you a long time because you might sit there and watch it, and the whole time you're fucking Japanese in that body, you fucking stupid horror, stupid movie, you know. So anyway, whatever. It is what it is. Sorry, Jewish people out there. I love you. We're still the chosen ones, I promise. Anyway, anything you want to add to diversity?
No, I think we'll end on you comparing those two things together.
I actually put Schindler's List up there with Ghost of the Shell. I'm going to hell.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Well, that was episode 75 of Chew on This and Nerds United Podcast. I'm BJ.
Vic.
Until next time, folks, chew on that.
Later.